Okay, I think we are live. This is Brother Johnny of the 19 Report. Hold on a minute. Trying to go live on two different platforms. Crazy me. All right, this is okay. This is great. Yeah, this is great. Okay, my phone is saying that it's trying to go live. This is really great because we wanted to talk today about net neutrality and what other topics are we talking about today? Net neutrality, and we're talking about the tax bill that is being protested on Capitol Hill, and we're also going to talk about a little bit about the increase of childhood suicide. That's funny. My phone can't continue my live broadcast. That never happened before in my life. So we're going to do this. Try it again. Just a minute. And this goes right in line with what's happening with, I'm not even going to put a story in because they'll stop it. Let me try it again real quick. We're 10 minutes in. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We're finished. No, we're not finished. All right. Anyway, I'm going to be pointing over here trying to go live while I'm talking. This is very, very good for the topic at hand. We're talking a little bit today about net neutrality and regulations of the internet. And what's happening right now in Congress is that they are about to vote on internet regulations. And the reason they're about to vote on internet regulations is because they want to regulate what is allowed on the internet and what is not. And yeah, so I think we're live right now. We're live right now on Facebook on my phone. I had to literally take out the title of what I was talking about in order to make it play. So now we're talking today about net neutrality, about there were 84 arrests in DC. I want to go into that real quick if we can. Let me type on and get on that real quick. Yeah, it says 84 protesters This is real crappy today. The internet is real crappy today. That's crazy. 84 arrested at Capitol Hill protests against the GOP tax bill. Now, for those of us that may not be aware of what's going on with the GOP tax bill, I am not a politician by any means. I don't know a lot about politics, but then again, I do know a lot about politics. But in this particular protest that was going on yesterday that I'm fully aware of, that I was watching on Periscope, tax laws are about to change. Now I posted up on yesterday on my Facebook page. Does anyone know the outcome of the tax laws that were being voted in? I didn't get one single response, and I kind of expected that, because we are not very concerned about anything but Jesus and sports and the holiday season. And like I said on many occasions, what happens during the holiday season while everyone is having a good time is that laws are changed, rules are rewritten, and we're partying and having a good time in the process. Now, I'm not after Jesus Christ. I love the concept of Jesus, the idea of Jesus, and the truth behind the teachings of Jesus. But faith without works are not necessarily great. And what is happening, especially in the South, is that we are just holding on to faith, blind faith, of things that we have no knowledge of. And in holding on to that blind faith, what we are doing is allowing other people to get our inheritance, our rewards, the rewards of the poor, the rewards of the disenchanted, the rewards of the suffering masses of the people who yearn to be free, but want someone else to fight for their freedom, and they enjoy the freedom. Now, most of us are fighting now, trying to increase our financial gain. We're trying to get more money. And these laws are being put into place where those in the middle class will be taxed more than the rich. So if you're trying to become middle class or make more money, you're going to be taxed for that. So I want to read this. 84 arrested at Capitol Hill protests against tax bill. I want to read a little bit of it if I can. Washington, fresh off an inspiring Democratic win in Alabama Senate race, hundreds of progressive activists, many of whom had physical disabilities, converged on Capitol Hill on Wednesday to protest the Republican tax bill. Now, these people were in Alabama protesting there. Then they came to D.C. to protest there. 84 of them were arrested after refusing Capitol Police requests to move from public space. The police agency said the demonstrators, mobilized as an array of progressive groups, focused their efforts on Republican senators who have expressed doubt about the legislation or the process that it creates. Although Democrats go on, okay, I want to go down to the point of why they're protesting. And what they're protesting about is that the new laws that are put in, here it is. The demonstrators on Wednesday, which included activist affiliates with Social Security Works, the Center for Popular Democracy, Housing Works, the Women's March, the Strong Economy for All Coalition, and Hedge Clippers, focused on the anticipated reduction to social programs that would result from the tax legislation. Now, these are the things that we just are not concerned about. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen to us because we're not concerned about anything. We carry a blind faith, thinking that because we believe something, it's so, and we believe it for so long that even if it's not so, we make it so. And what is happening is that we are allowing other people to fight our battles. God wants you to fight your battles, even in the street. When a person wants to join a street organization, they have to prove their worthiness by fighting their own battles. You have to sharpen your teeth. You go to college 4 or 5 years, 6, 7 years, and you think you're in there, you're posing with your degree, what an accomplishment, and then you have to start all the way back over. You become a resident where you have to fight battles and prove that you're capable and worthy of the position that you've worked so hard to try and achieve. What's happening to us is that we are not fighting the battles. Someone is always fighting the battle for us, and we are totally oblivious to the battle being fought. We just reap the reward of the battle being won. That's not how God operates. So those of us who have accumulated things by being quiet, build our bank up by being secretive and quiet and crooked and underhanded. Well, these bills that are laws are going to take all of that from you. This is by design because we did not follow the rules of universal law. Now, the tax bill is due to add $1 trillion to the debt. Many people don't know that this country is in a lot of debt. It is in debt. That's not me saying it, it's the numbers saying it. Which would trigger so-called pay-go rules, resulting in across-the-board spending cuts. Now, with this trillions of dollars in debts with this new tax law that may be implemented, it will trigger what is considered a pay-go rule, resulting in across-the-board spending cuts that would affect programs like Medicare. That's us. Republican leaders in Congress have committed to waiving pay-go, but activists are not satisfied that they will follow through once the tax bill is passed. Things are always promised, but never follow through once the bill is passed. The activist group also note that the money the bill would add to the debt is likely to generate pressure to reduce budget deficits at the expense of vulnerable populations. Haiti, Africa, and other people will have to suffer the consequences of this new tax bill. Now listen to this. House Speaker Paul Rand and other GOP lawmakers have already announced that cutting so-called entitlements for seniors and people with disabilities, Social Security and Medicare, as well as mean testing programs like food stamps, are next on the agenda. So this bill that we are not concerned about, that we're more concerned about empire and football players and all of these things, the illusion that we live is that most of us won't admit that we're poor. That's the illusion. Most of us won't admit that we are the working poor. I don't care how big your house is, how big is your debt. Most of us there's no way you can afford to pay medical bills. Medical bills will wipe out a savings in less than a year. So most of us are fooling ourselves in a sense that we are rich. The street people with their little nickels and dimes in their hand and their car, fooling themselves that they're rich. The church folk fooling themselves. There's so many church folks in foreclosure in their homes because they bought too much and they bought too big, too fast, because they had this blind faith that everything was going to be all right. Well, these people, the progressive right, they are fully aware of money and how it works because they had money all of their lives. They lived comfortably. Now that nest egg is being threatened by this new GOP tax bill. And the disabled 63, 73, 83-year-olds are out there fighting on the front lines to see to it that this rule and these bills are either null or regulated to the point that no one is taken advantage of. And we're looking at football all day, baseball, sports, going to church every Sunday, falling out, but we're not taking care of the business that God intended for us to handle. So the scripture says, Jesus, I am about the business of my Father. What is my Father's business? It is balance. We're not out for balance. As long as it's not in our minds, we don't care about it, but it's affecting us anyway. So all of the poor, myself included, all of you hustlers, all of you dope dealers, all of you pimps and pushers who, when you get sick, pull out your Medicare card, not Medicaid, Medicare. These things will be affected, and they are being affected. $1 trillion of debt will be added, and that money has to be paid by someone. It'll be the poor. It'll be the middle class. This is what is happening today. Incidentally, if you would like to follow us, you can follow us on Facebook at the 19 Network. You can follow us on YouTube at the 19 Report. We have a personal website, the 19 Report. Just type it into the Google search engine, and you will be able to look us up. Now, let's go into the next thing that I've mentioned since I've mentioned Google search engine. Today, they will be voting in Congress on net neutrality. For those of us that don't know what net neutrality is, the internet was an open source internet. First of all, there is 100% of internet. Only about 16% of the internet are we allowed to visit. The rest of it is called the shadow internet or the dark web. Most people don't go there. If you start to go there, you will be investigated for why you're there. That's where big business is done. That's where you can find a hitman to kill your husband, your wife, your dog. That's where bitcoins are spent. It's coming out now, but investments are done on the dark web. If you want to go on the dark web, you go through a Tor, T-O-R, search engine. But if you do go through it, you will be under investigation pretty soon if you're not careful. All of the pedophiles hang out there. Again, there's good and there's bad. So there's 16% of the internet that was regulated when we first got on it. Now Congress is saying, let's regulate it some more. President Barack Obama voted on net neutrality and said that it should stay open, I think. But sites like Facebook started to utilize artificial intelligence and algorithms and bots in order to find, if you say one word, if I say one word right now that the bots recognize as a threatening word, they will begin to break up my broadcast, my live broadcast. They will begin to speed it up, make it fall back, slow it down, cut the signal. This is the ability of net neutrality. The the abolition of net neutrality, it's been going on the whole time. Google decided on last year or the year before last that there are certain sites that they're going to take out of the Google search. So certain things that you're looking for, you will not find in Google. This is what is happening. Netflix intentionally slowed down its stream at one time so that there was a lot of buffering involved with Netflix. Anyone who has the money to pay and the know-how to do it and the guts to try it will succeed on the internet if this law is passed. It's a gradual thing. Right now, they're fighting this. They just had to clear the room because of some threat in Congress. They had the security had to clear the room, and they're starting back up with the. They're starting right now back up with the vote, and the 3-2 vote ran along party lines. It says, with the commission's 3 Republican members voting in favor of unraveling the 2015 net neutrality rules. The 2 Democrats on the commission voted against the measure. This is happening right now. This is what we should be knowing. All of these bills, anything of importance always happens during December when we and having a ball and not know what's going on that's going to affect you, whether you believe it's going to affect you or not. And let me tell you something. God does not work with people who know what's happening and do nothing about it. Ignorance of God's law is no excuse. So when it's put before you that this is happening and you don't even carry concern about it, there is consequences to that. So people are always asking, why is this happening? Why is that happening? It's happening because we don't do anything about it. In actuality, we are cowardly and we won't do anything about it. So net neutrality, I don't know if it has been voted on, but it will be voted on today. And it will be the beginning of a legal unraveling of the internet if the people who are concerned and understand the internet don't continue to fight. It's not us. We just want to be on Facebook. And look, there are rules on Facebook where music can't be played anymore. In the beginning, you could play music. They outlawed that, but there are some DJs who play music live sets and don't get in any trouble. What do they know that we don't know? That is the issue with net neutrality and rules and laws that come into place that some know, but others don't know. That they can take advantage and you cannot. And this is how societies are separated, and many begin to think they are better. And we follow them because we feel like we're nothing. So we follow the people who look like they got a lot of people following them. I'm getting on board with them. But they will never tell you how they succeed in what they're doing. They just want you to follow. This is the system of superiority that has gone on in America since the killing of the Native Americans. Now black folks have a hold of it, and they're using it to their advantage. They are becoming the new evil under the guise of loving you. And people like me are considered the trouble. Net neutrality, the vote in Capitol Hill that will affect us tremendously. You mark my word, by God's permission. All of the praying in the world will not fix this. We should know this by now. Prayer without the proper work, well done, is way better than well said. I don't get excited with people talking motivational talk. I don't get excited with people talking all of this God talk, and you shouldn't either. You should look into it and see what's in it that you can utilize for yourself and your family and your people, the community, and then the entire world, the state. I think, by God's permission, we should take the stand of learning politics enough that we can demand of politicians not just a black face, not just a nice personality, but we demand results for our vote. I don't think voting and politics will save the world, but I do think that these things can be utilized to get a piece of what is rightfully ours. Now, I'm going to say this. White people are fighting diligently for something for themselves. And I have to applaud. I was looking at the net neutrality FCC vote today on Periscope, and there was a black lady, I don't know her name. She argued the point eloquently and very well. And she stated facts that maybe people didn't think about. What happens when the internet says Jamil is a threat and they begin to cut off my broadcast? Well, let me tell you, they started doing that in 2015. On YouTube, as soon as I put up my video, they will tell me your video will not be seen in certain states. And one of the states that it's not seen in is the United States. The only way my videos get seen here is if someone watches it and shares it. And that's why I'm always advocating the sharing of our videos. Don't just like it, but share it. That's the only way we get out. Because on Facebook, we're blocked. Once I start saying certain words, the video is it's running smooth on my end. On both of my programs, the video is running absolutely flawless, streamless. I can do anything and it moves great. Wave my hands, I can go close in and out, and it runs great. But once I go back and look at the video, it's all chopped up. This is net neutrality. These are the rules that were already in place, and now all they have to do is get it on paper. This is happening right in our faces. Why can't we balance life? Why does it have to be one way? Sports all the time, church all the time, politics all the time for the crooks in politics. Because there's only about 2 people out of 200 that want to change things, but they are afraid to lose their job, and they know that they're out there by themselves if they say anything. I talk to politicians, they talk to me. I talk to ministers, they talk to me. They confide things in me. They do. And I know what's happening even in this small town. It's right there in the archives in the old Manning High Library. If you really want to know how this town was formed, it's in a book. Just go look it up. You will find every slave owner in Manning, last names, first names, how many slaves they had. Some of them had so much as 256 slaves right here in Clarendon County. And that's how they built their wealth. The information is there, but we don't want it. We just want to forget and love everybody. But God is not approving of that. And as long as someone else is fighting our battles for us, we will see the results of our rejection of God in our children. You see it. They are rebelling even against their own sex, their own sexual preference. I posted up today 2 little children that killed themselves. No hope. I have a nephew that said one time, there's just no hope. And until this day, he is living, but he's alive, but he's not living. Being used and abused by others who see benefit in life, and all he can do is follow like a little sheep. That's number 2. 84 arrested in Capitol Hill, some of them disabled, fighting, trying to null the bill that will increase the taxes on the middle class and in actuality make the poor poorer and make the middle class poor, and there will only be place for rich and super rich. So everybody is striving to be super rich, cutting throats along the way. And it is, my opinion, a big mistake because it's separation. That's 2 things. Number 3, I was talking about posting up the suicide videos of the young children. You know, the Bible talks about this time when people will be having heart attacks and heads will be turning gray instantly. And then God talks about the sins of the father being visited onto the children. The sins of the father, our grandparents and great grandparents who sinned and hide the sin and will not even admit today that they have sinned because they so wrapped up in Jesus now, in the false image of Jesus now, not Jesus the Christ, but in the idea that all the wrong they did is somehow forgiven, and they have not tried to rectify the wrong. What are you talking about, Jamil? If you have on a brand new pair of white pants, shark skin, $1,000 pants, and I come walking past you and looking the other way talking, I bump into you and I drop coffee on your brand new white pants, you're going to want to kill me. I can say I'm sorry, and try to wipe it off. I'm so sorry, please forgive me. That is not going to fix the issue. But if I can calm down the situation and say, look, it was my fault. I don't know how much those pants cost, but if you take them to the cleaners and they can't clean them to your satisfaction, you send me a bill and I will reimburse you, or I will buy a new pair of pants for you. You may still be angry, but I rectified it. I fixed it. Old people think just forget about it. So we are eager to talk about forgetting the past, and preachers are teaching forgetting the past. You forget it if you want to. Forget it if you want to. I promise you, according to the laws of God, we will revisit it again. It will come back, and we are revisiting it right now. See, white folks are saying that they are feeling like slaves because of all the rules and regulations that is not allowing them to continue living the way they've lived. You see a rise in hate groups. You see white people knowing that they can play on blacks' emotions, so they put their little child on the internet about being bullied, and here you are broke as a joke, but you are giving money. What the hell is money going to do for someone being bullied? But you give it because we are emotional people. And we think certain things fix situations, but what really fixed a situation is honesty of the situation. Not that you go tell all of your business, but you have to be honest to the people who are close to you and who you thought you had a relationship with, but now they can freely lie to you about things that they shouldn't be lying about. Old people let us down in terms of the lies that they hid. And now these lies are being made manifest through the children. This is the truth. These are three of the things I wanted to talk about. I talked about the supermoon on one live stream, and there will be 2 more supermoons in the month of January. And we talked about how the moon pulls on the body, pulls on how the earth is a part of us, and how everything that happens in the earth affects us. Last night, there was a meteor shower. My son and I were up watching it. And I was thinking to myself, what is this falling stars, falling, what do you call them? Celestial bodies from the heavens. What does that signify? I am praying honestly that we begin to, I was explaining to my son at one time there was no need for a weatherman because we were so in tune with the earth, we knew when the weather would change. There was no need for a telephone because we were so in tune with each other that we were able to know each other's thinking. Oh, what you talking about? The Bible says, and Jesus, knowing their thinking. The Bible talks about Jesus traveling in the night journey and meeting Elijah and meeting Moses and meeting all of the deceased prophets and messengers on his journey. The Quran talks about it too. The transfiguration of Jesus Christ in the Bible is what talks about it. We had the ability to do these things, but technology, heavenly and satanic at the same time, because it's trying to pull you away from your God nature, your God knowledge, and your and my ability to tune into the God spirit. So now we'll look at a television show and get these emotions and think that we are in the spirit of God. Fake emotions for fake people. This is what we are becoming. Plastic people, zombies, the thing that we hate the most. Our children are dying because all of the sins and wrongs that we did that we don't want to be held accountable for, that we hid under the name of Jesus. We hid all of our sins under the blood of Jesus. Jesus Christ would be rotting over and over again with all of the evil and sins that we hide under his name. And I was in a little debate yesterday with a woman who's telling me that Jesus is omniscient, that he knows everything. And I'm telling her, you have already been given a face of a person that I've proven is not Jesus Christ. But you, and this is a white, a Caucasian, but you want to stay right there in that place. I said, if he was the all-knowing, all-wise, why on the cross did he ask God, why have you forsaken me? He should have known the reason why. And why does he have a father if he is the only one necessary? Jesus is not the only one necessary. Jesus is the key to understanding God if we understand him in the right way. I'm saying that because I don't want to separate the laws of universal law of religion from what's happening in the world today. We can't fix this on our own. We don't have the ability to do that. It's going to go on. And what's happening in China, there's a regulation on the internet. Nothing goes out. Since the Tiananmen Square massacre and other things that happened in China, only internet they got is what goes on right inside of China. And since we've been broadcasting all the evils and wickedness of this country to the entire world, eventually only internet we have is what will be right here, net neutrality. We won't have the ability to pay for our health care. It's happening. Or if you're going to stay under the health care, there's certain rules and regulations you're going to have to follow. And if you don't, they'll come to your house, take your children. Many of the people that are successful are just submissive people. They're not soldiers of God. They're just submissive. They do whatever they're told to do and they justify it. So they look like they're soldiers, but they're not soldiers. They don't fight nothing. They go along with everything. So I thank you for tuning in, and I don't know what came out and what didn't come out, but I hope something came out because I had to stop my live stream because of the title that I had. I had the title up there, and the title, they said I had a low stream, and I'm right here by my box. Said low stream interrupted, then it cut it right off. And then I did it again with no title, and I'm in. I've been streaming since then. So net neutrality has always been in place. There's always been a monitor on what's said. And the only things that are going to get through is foolishness, music. They'll let some music go through, especially this gangster rap, this destructive music, this crap music. I've been on Periscope for the last 2 days. They're letting pornography go through like there's nothing to it. People prophesizing and praying and telling you how good your life going to be, but they're trying to make their life better by getting money from you. They're going to let that go through. But a lot of the information that we did not know before the internet came into being is the information that they're going to discontinue on the internet. So where we were once informed, we won't be informed anymore. And the sad part is that I'm going to continue to do my part until God takes my life. And however he chooses to do that is his business. I'm going to continue to try because that's what I desire to do in my heart. But the hurting part of it is that there is no support in Manning, South Carolina. We're always talking about how we don't support, but there is absolutely no support, not even from the Muslims who I've been through Islam with. None. They don't like my videos. They don't watch my videos. And they know I'm telling the truth. because they're on that great, incredible paper chase. And anything that interrupts that. See, I've seen Muslims, and you'd be amazed how many of them accepted Islam in Manning. They're crawling behind Christians trying to prove that we're good people too. I don't have to prove that to you. I've never been in jail. You? Well, I've been in jail, but I've never been charged with a crime. You? I'm not a pedophile. I'm not a thief. I'm not a robber. I didn't do anything other than what you've done. So why I have to change who I am for you? Because I'm tired and I want to make some money. I had a woman who could have helped my career go sky high, but I had to discontinue being who I was. And the first thing she said, don't you want to make money? Of course I do. But I don't want to get lost in the process, because God says, get his understanding first, and all of these other things will be added. Now, sometimes I get excited and I want it so bad. But other times I can sit and thank God that he allowed me to go that far fast, because I would have destroyed my own self. Net neutrality, Capitol Hill protest for the tax bill that has been voted on, and how our young people are reflecting what was in the old people, their lies, look, the genetics of a person makes up who they are inside. When they don't know their father, their mother, when they look and see a same-sex marriage, two women, two men, look, however you want to live your life is your business. I don't care. I can't do nothing about you being gay, and you can't do nothing about me being who I am besides kill me or try to destroy my reputation. That's it. Other than that, heaven or hell, if it is there, you can't stop me from going, and I can't stop you. So I don't know. But what I'm talking about is the internal conflict that a child is going through, because they see they only have a mother who's saying men ain't no good, but their friends have mother and father. Or they have a mother who bringing home a different man every day and saying, this your Uncle Bob, this your Uncle Greg, but they go in the room and they hear a bunch of noise in the room from all of these different men. What is happening to our children is a reflection of what is in us and what we have said out of our mouths, and the two-edged sword, the sharpness of the tongue, and the two-edged, the double-minded individual, the reptile. We're all reptilian. We're looking for somebody to shape-shift, but we're shape-shifting. You can see a pretty woman, and I'm gone after this, and she is a wayward woman, just love being around men, and pretty soon you see her begin to shape-shift. She looks horrible. Same thing with men living a rough life. They look horrible. This is what is happening. Sins of the father. So I want to thank you for tuning in. I got to take this call. This is the second one. Must be urgent. So I'm going to take it. But I thank you sincerely for tuning in. This is Jamil Salib Zamir of the 19 Report. And if anytime I'm talking, it sounds like I'm trying to be personal, I'm really just using my life as the example to go by. Please stay tuned to net neutrality and the FCC and what's happening on Capitol Hill. It's always going to happen during December and during the new year, when we're partying and oblivious to what's happening. All of the football game, this is for a reason. Enjoy your sports and all your whatever you want to do, but pay attention to. We got TVs now that you can look at 4 different pictures at one time. Look at the game, have the net neutrality up, have the Capitol Hill up, and have some other alternative news up so you can see everything that's going on at one time. And use social media to talk about it. And then let's get together and do something. Listen, I'm telling you, silence is consent. Silence is consent. And when we call on God after being silent, that's like a person who never had a dime in their life and some preacher come and prophesy about the big house and car they're going to have. You're not even qualified for that. You don't even know how to pay the taxes on that. You don't even know how to keep that going. but you believe what he says all of your life. You don't believe you'll get it by what's in your head, so you're constantly playing the lottery and praying to God that you win. Thank you for tuning in, Brother Johnny, the 19 Report, Manning, South Carolina.